Hey everybody, well, got something to tell you all here. This is a recap video. Recap of the Tiller tournament that is going on right now. Basing it off the mole, and we're more than halfway done now. So, what's been happening? Here's the story. Our very first game was apples to apples match game. 7 players called in. Well, 6 of them at least. But 1 took the place of an absent player. That was Corey Lawrence. $46,003 was added to the cyberpot. But there was a really big suspicious moment during the game. It even slowed us down. Kyle Wheeler claimed to be the mole, and he was always vying for the incorrect answers that were not given by my mother. And any time that he got an incorrect answer, he would just cheer and everything like that. But if he got an answer right, he would pitch a fit and try to give the money back. That was a little too forward if someone asks me. But in the end, with the $46,003 added to the cyberpot, Andrew Budney was in the lead by $2,000, so he had a choice of one of 2 things. 1, he could go for an exemption, which means he would be exempt from taking the quiz, therefore moving on to the next round. Or a neutralizer, which means you can neutralize a fellow player of yours, and if you do neutralize them, they would be forced to take the quiz, but also a little twist to my version, they would have an incorrect answer posed against them, which is definitely something. And the mole met their first victim the following Wednesday in Bill Davis. Before the second week of competition began, Nikki Mashburn, who was a player signed up for the competition, informed me that she was going to have to resign from the competition. This being because she had phone issues going on with her cell phone at the time. Therefore, she couldn't commit to calling in on Friday nights to do the competition. So Corey Lawrence, from that point, took her place. The second game was Hangman, and Brian Schwartz was voted to be the person solving the puzzles. The rest would be trying to put letters into the puzzles to help him solve them. A lot of money went into the pot, putting it into 6 figures. And because Brian Schwartz answered the most number of puzzles correctly, he got the exemption neutralizer choice. He elected for the exemption. And with that, the following Wednesday, we met the mole's second victim in Jerry Depew. The third week's game was Hangman. Now, what I did, I pulled $100,000 out of the cyberpot and split them into $25,000 for 4 players. And the 4 players were Andrew Budney, Antonio Gray, Brian Schwartz, and Matthew Wojcik. They were the 4 voted to play the game, and unfortunately, Andrew and Antonio busted out, which means their money would not go back into the cyberpot. But Brian managed to put $9,000 back into the pot, even though Matthew Wojcik added more than $30,000 to the pot. So although we lost some of the cyberpot, there's still a chance to bring it back up. Now, because Matthew Wojcik was in the lead, he elected for the exemption over the neutralizer. But also, Brian Schwartz elected to give Kyle Wheeler an exemption because of a discrepancy from the game of Hangman. So with 2 exemptions going into the quiz, Chris Yarzabek became the mole's 3rd victim. And then there were 7. Our 4th game was Password, and only 3 people called into the show: Antonio Gray, Brian Schwartz, and Matthew Wojcik. Because each of them got 1 vote each from each other, Antonio was randomly selected to be the password solver. After 15 passwords and not many of them answered correctly, he elected to switch to be a clue giver and gave the responsibility of password solver to Matthew Wojcik. But there was a suspicious moment when Antonio gave away a password, and could he be the mole from that? Well, we don't know for sure just yet. Although he is still in the competition, no exemption neutralizer was offered that night, and Kyle Wheeler became the mole's 4th victim. But not only that, Matthew Wojcik added a little fuel to the fire. Take a listen and see what I mean.
You honestly believed him from the apples to apples game? he was just laying it out. It was...
Oh, come on. A mole would never be that stupid.
Our last game that we played was The Chase, and which was really unbelievable to say the least. Here's why. Corey Lawrence managed to call in after a while, and he was elected to be the chaser. And Brian Schwartz went first, and even though he stalled right there at the end, he managed to put into the bank $30,000. But Antonio Gray was next, and even though he stalled, he went for the $12.50, which was lower than what was originally offered and everything like that. But he still managed to make it home. $31,250 was set. Matthew Rojas almost evaded the chaser, but was caught in the end. He avoided putting $25,000 into the pot and had a neutralizer forced against him. This would be the first time a neutralizer would be put into the game. Into effect, that is. And in the final chase, Antonio and Brian managed to get 8 steps ahead of the chaser. Just 8. And that's no joke, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you that is no joke. Corey Lawrence did not catch them. There was a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of suspicious activity going on. So with that, this Wednesday, who is going to be the mole's 5th victim? But also do not forget, we have prizes available in this competition, and they will be won by the 3 finalists at the end of the competition. They are a Game Show Temple t-shirt, a Game Show Temple hat, and a Game Show Temple mousepad. All 3 items have the Game Show Temple logo and web link on them, and the slogan, "Reliving your favorite game shows inside and out since January 2007, will be found on the t-shirt and the mousepad. And of course, the winners of those prizes can choose to alter their prizes if they so desire. But of course, we still have some eliminations and executions to go through. We still have other games to play. But don't forget, who is the mole? Who's going to be the winner? That's going to be a little later on down the road. So as time goes by, think carefully, listen carefully. Who is the mole?